Our rightmost pedal is, again, an auxiliary percussion pedal, but as it's shipped, its default is to hit the bottom of the hi-hat for that nice open hit sound. Again, you can get the interplay for different hi-hat hitting techniques. What we want to do to know about that is this is our lever. The way that it is resting, you can rest way down far, down below, so that it has a nice long swing motion to come up and hit that hi-hat, and that would be moving it all the way to the left-hand side. If you have a hard time moving it from side to side, go ahead and lift our snare drum up, and then you can reach under, and then you can feel the nut underneath where that would go, and you can move it off to your left. The lever accommodates our snare, or our stick to come back and forth. So if you want to have that stick hit nearer towards the center of the cymbal for a cleaner, tighter sound, that is a preferred method. Usually about 1/3 from the edge, between 1/3 between the center of the hi-hat and the edge is where a lot of percussionists like to hit their hi-hats for a sweet spot. And you can just take it out and notice that it is a standard drumstick. It's slightly modified at the end. About 1 inch was taken off in order for it to fit inside the drum. So you can use any type of stick. This is a hickory stick that is a nice hardwood that will allow for that hit to really open up and sound nice. Now, if I want to have this stick hit on top of the hi-hat and hit the snare, or the bottom side of the snare, go ahead and adjust it so that it's on that side of the hi-hat, and move that lever over just a bit, maybe towards the middle or a little bit more towards the right. And you'll want to adjust the piston likewise, so that you're going to come and just hit the hi-hat, or just hit the snare without forcing it up. And I probably want to adjust that down just a little bit. So it's a nice open hit, and actually the way that this slide lever is adjusted in between the pedal, it is hitting the hi-hat on its downward hit. So upward snare, downward hi-hat. And if you don't want that hi-hat sound, you're going to have to find that sweet spot where the lever is going to set and not rest against the hi-hat. Not a lot of room to work with in there, so you might want to adjust the stick further back towards the right-hand side there and allow it to have just a little bit more room inside of the drum to play with. Now, if you find that there's just not enough adjusting room for there, or that the stick coming underneath the hi-hat is hitting it at a bad angle, meaning that it's hitting the side before that it hits the tip, then you'll want to take the drum and do this little modification. At the back of the lever is a wing nut, and you'll undo the wing nut, and notice that the whole lever will want to shift up towards the inside of the drum where the spring tension is pulling it. You can pull that down, and redo that lever, and it has a whole another relationship with the lever and the piston that you adjusted underneath the pedal on the other side. And again, you want to make sure that your tip is hitting before it's hitting the edge, and therefore its angle of attack is important, how it's slotted on its mounting bracket here. And again, that'll affect how you're going to hit above it and below it, but that is just the way that it is designed to have as multi-featured use as possible. And again, this spring is adjustable in tension, so if you want to have a tighter pedal when you're playing, you can go ahead and raise or lower the spring tension on the side. And that is the overview of the rightmost pedal. And again, too, we'll have features for this pedal slot to include a smaller shaker version or a tambourine version. So this could be a shaker or a tambourine as opposed to hitting the hi-hat or the snare drum. As the feature is now, you can have you can have this drum hitting snare drum here, there, and there. So you can have pretty good drum rolls if you're using these three pedals to hit your snare drum. Again, you lose a little bit on the hi-hat options, but I think for some folks, for some songs, that'll be worth it.